This is a podcast by a Jack Spirko, I believe is his last name. You can go, just look up thesurvivalpodcast.com, http www.thesurvivalpodcast.com. That's all you have to do. He's got about 138 episodes of this program, which he does while he's commuting in Texas, about 50 miles each way. Very interesting young man with seems to be really on target on so many things. It's worth that you listen to him, and especially on the economic matters. He's right on top of it. So enjoy.
50 years ago. This is where we're headed. And I want you right now to grab a hold of the fact that this is where we're headed. That none of these guys are on your side. I don't care who you voted for. But let's just look at the, $76 billion we gave Citigroup. Because, like I said, they have so much debt that they can't pay because of bad credit card debt. More than mortgages. That's where Citibank's in trouble. Called that one before it happened. Citibank doesn't have to adhere to the law that has no penalty or teeth anyway. That's right. The $300 billion that's already come out of TARP, $350 billion that's already come out of TARP, not retroactive. So anybody that took that money is free to do whatever they like with their compensation, even though there were supposedly compensation limits and golden parachute limits and bonus limits in the first version of the bill, the first TARP appropriations. Remember, they misdirected us with that. So all you've seen is misdirection, but there's something more insidious at work here. And if this thing yesterday did not occur, I would call this a tinfoil hat subject. But when something is uttered in the halls of government by a powerful member of our government that actually has the power to get things done and to influence law and to cause things to happen. And I believe this individual is the single biggest individual responsible for the housing meltdown with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. And his name is Barney Frank. Barney Frank, okay, as he calls himself. Barney Frank said yesterday that eventually these restrictions on executive pay may need to apply not just to executives in the banking industry who have taken TARP funds, but possibly all executives in the banking industry. That should send a shiver right up your spine. It's going to get worse. But I want you to think about it just halfway first, how bad that is. So in other words, if I am Joe of Joe's Bank, and I ran my bank right, and I didn't take any TARP money, and my bank is profitable, and I only loaned to people that I should have loaned to, and I did everything I was supposed to do, and I've been a great CEO, and I kept my bank out of this mess, and my bank's agreed to pay me $3 million a year. Barney Frank saying, you know what, we may need to limit your compensation, Joe of Joe's Bank, as well. But I didn't take your money. It doesn't matter. This is the banking sector. It's America. Now, that's not socialism. That's flat-out communism, folks. But it gets worse. Senator Frank then went on to say, in fact, we may have to look at limiting executive compensation for all companies in America. A United States Senator that is the chairman of major committees, that has had a greater influence on the financial disaster in this country than any individual president, has just stated that it may be necessary for the government to act to restrict the compensation of executives at all companies in the United States. This is not going to obviously happen tomorrow. This would cause, cries of bloody murder. But it's the first swing. And a lot of things that have happened in the past 20 years started with a statement 40, 50 years ago. This is where we're headed. And I want you right now to grab a hold of the fact that this is where we're headed. That none of these guys are on your side. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care who you vote for. right now, if you're going to control your own destiny, you're going to have to stop being freaking led around the nose by the liberal agenda at Fox News, or by the conservative agenda, if you want to call that, or I mean the conservative agenda at Fox News, or the liberal agenda over at CNN. And you're going to have to realize that the agenda is the same. That the people playing the game, the executives at Fox and the executives at CNN, they think they're fighting the fight, but it's only because they are as blind as most people. They are in bed with their side of the government, both of them. And it's absolutely appalling. The news has gone away from reporting the facts and holding everybody to a high standard and become a cheering match for one side or the other. You're going to see these massive approval numbers for Barack Obama begin to decay. You're going to see the Rush Limbaughs of the world ratchet up the band, and you're going to see a very tough battle on Capitol Hill for Senate seats and House seats, and a big pullback toward the Republican Party in 2 years. And what I don't want you to do is cry if you're a Democrat or cheer if you're a Republican. I want you to realize it doesn't freaking matter. I want you to understand at this point, the only thing that we can do as a people when it comes to our government is, yeah, you go ahead and you vote for the best guy you think you can find for the job, but you understand that the system has been so manipulated at this point that these guys are out for themselves and not for you. And the only thing you have in your, basket, so to speak, to fight back is the threat of taking their jobs away and sending their ass out to work a real job.